This is exercise 5, and so here's our layout. We're doing a 2 single pole switch controlling 2 lights on this. So we are going to be using this plan. You're going to need your screwdriver, you need 2 switches, you need 2 light receptacles here, you need 2 ground wires, you need 1 black wire, 4 wire nuts, your wire strippers, and your alignment pliers, and some wire. So we need to run power from our breakout box all the way through here down to box number 3, because we're going to be using box 3, and then we're going to be using box 1 and box 2 here. So I'm just going to pull out enough to run from here down to here. We'll feed it through our holes, and we'll bolt that up in a second, or screw that down in a second. And then I'm just going to rough measure this out. We can do it from the back of the box, and again, I want about 6 inches hanging out, so that's good. Cut this off, feed this through the back of the box. And on this end, I'm going to go a little bit farther than 6 inches because I'm going to pull some of that back to get less sheathing in the back. So I'm just going to make my cut there, pull this off. And then there's a tab back here. It's kind of like the spring up here on number 4 and 3. So I can just push that down with my finger and pull that out a little bit, maybe. There we go. Because again, I only want about that much of the white coming into the box. I don't want a lot of that, the white outside part coming into the box. So that looks pretty good. And then we can, if you've got an extra piece that will run from the box up to here, that'd be fine too. So I'm going to fish this into the back of the box here. Just make sure you get all 3 in there. And this is already stripped off, so we don't have to worry about that. And then we're going to run this to the top, box number 2, since this is our shortest length. And if you need to use a screwdriver instead of your finger, it'll also work. It also helps if you want, I would just cut these off just to make it a little bit easier to push through if you need to. There we go. Almost. I got 2, and there's number 3. And so now we got our box here ready, and then we're going to do one more piece of wire going from our 2 receptacle box over to the second light switch. I'm sorry, the second light. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to tie all of our neutrals together. Now with this particular wire nut, we can only put 3 together at a time. So we're going to run these 2. This is power coming from the breakout box. This is going to light number 2. So we're going to put that together, and then we're going to put our jumper wire here. I'm going to put all these together. Get them lined up nice and neat. There we go. Grab your alignment pliers. Give them a twist. Ooh, sometimes you can't, they don't want to grab. It's kind of hard sometimes to grab all 3. There we go. Try that again. Put on your wire nut. And then I'm going to take the other end of this, and this is going to be attached to our other neutral wire here. Twist those together. And also, we haven't mentioned this in any of the other videos, but you want to make sure you're turning these clockwise, not counterclockwise, because that's the same direction that we are turning our wire nut. Make sure you're going in the right direction. Now we can take these and shove these back into the box nice and neat. Just don't cram them back there, but try and get them in there as neatly as possible because we have a lot of things that are going in this box. So push those to the back. With our neutral wires, we only need one of these, and the only one we do need is the one coming from power. So you got to figure out which one that is, and I believe it is this one. Yes, it's this one. So the other two, let's tuck those out of the way. That just makes our life a little bit easier so we don't have to deal with it and we don't have a bunch of things sticking out of the box. Spin those in, push those into the box. There we go. And so I just have this one, and I'm going to tie, already put our pre-curl on there. We're going to wire tie these together with our wire nut. Just going to pinch them. And these two are going to be attached to the ground on both of our switches here. So we can do that right now. So we have our neutrals tied in here. And the next thing we want to do, we have two pigtails coming to the bottom of our switch here that we're going to tie to our power here. So we have these two, I already pre-bent these. We're going to hook these on to the bottom of the switch here in the back. Then we're going to take these two and tie this to, and make sure you're tying it to the correct one. We're going to tie this to where the power is coming from. So make sure you're tying that to the correct wire or else this won't work. So I'm going to strip this off and then we're going to make that connection there. So now we have power now running to the bottom of our switch, and now we're going to tie box 2 to this switch, and we're going to tie box 1 to this switch. So now, after we've tied the power into the bottom of the switch, we're going to connect box 2. Again, make sure you know which wire is going where to which box. So this one's going to box 2, but check yours to make sure it's going to the right spot. Tighten that down. Again, make sure it's nice and neat. Make sure you're not pinching that insulation. Here's to box number 1. And please be careful as you're placing this in that you don't snap the box right off the board. So you got a lot of wires that need to fit in here, and yes, you have to place them in here so they fit and they're not pinched and they're not gonna come loose. Get them in as best you can. Get these screws started. It's easier just to start with one. Get that in place. Give it a few turns just to keep it in place. Push that bottom one in. Hold it with your finger. Give it a few turns. Same thing on this one. Get that in place. Just hold it there on the top. Now we're ready to hook up our light receptacles. So now it's time to hook these up. And again, I always want to start this screw in there so it gives me something to hang on to. But am I going the right way? Yes, this is going the right way. Let's screw this in. There we go. And you're going to do this on box 2 as well as box 1. So I'm not going to show you both. You've already done this in the previous video. You should all know how to do this, but again, I'll make sure that's going the right direction. Get that hooked in the right spot. Maybe. Here we go. It's nice and tight. And we'll just twist this around a little bit, get that in place. There we go. Take your screw and get this mounted up. And you might have to kind of peek up there to see where that lines up. Take a look, get your screw started, just to hold your light socket receptacle in the right spot. And again, we're just giving this a few turns just to keep it in the right spot. And that should be good. So we're gonna get our light socket tester and we're gonna test here for this switch. And then for our other receptacle, we're gonna test here with our light socket tester here with this switch, and we should get 2 green LEDs if you did it correctly.